There was a Baptist preacher that was getting ready for a Sunday morning message, and he really felt like he needed a good visual demonstration to really push home the point he was trying to make on this message. So as he prepared, he walked down the aisle that Sunday morning, and he had these 4 containers that he set up front before the church. And he said, "Church, this first container is alcohol." He sets it down in front. So in the second container, this represents smoke. This third container is chocolate syrup. And this fourth container is good soil. And then he took some worms that he had found. And he dropped the worm in the alcohol. He dropped the worm in the smoke. He dropped the worm in the chocolate. He dropped the worm in the dirt. And then he went up to his pulpit and preached a masterful message on our bodies being the temple of the Lord, and how we have to be very cautious and careful and take care of ourselves. And as he stepped down from the pulpit, he held up these glasses. He says, "You see this glass with the worm and the alcohol? The worm is dead. And do you see the worm in the smoke? It's dead. And do you see the worm in the chocolate syrup? It's dead. Do you see the worm in the good soil? It is alive and thriving." So church, what can we learn from this? And Sister Maxine stood up in the back. She said, "Well, Pastor, what I learned from this is that if you drink and smoke and eat chocolate, you won't get worms." Let's just have the invitation, because that didn't go over like I thought. Poor guy. See, from his perspective, in his context, he was trying to show people how to take care of yourself in this life, because your body is a gift. From her perspective, she was trying not to get worms. Great news. Thanks for that, Dr. Arnold. We started this new series last week called Context Matters. And so what we see too often in this life is we have these very familiar passages of Scripture that we know and that we've heard and that we often use. We see somebody in trouble, somebody that needs encouragement, somebody that's down, and we say, "Well, here, I've got a verse for you," but I wonder if we're using those verses in the right context. And so that's the goal of this study. Let's take some of those famous verses that we use and let's really see what they're saying. And so we ask questions like, who's writing? Who is the audience? What are they saying? What else is going on during this time period? What does it mean for us? And so last week we started with Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." And we see that so many times in this world people use that as though it is a superpower scripture. As long as I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, then I can do absolutely everything. It's like a genie in a bottle or a joker card in my hand. Whatever I want to do, I can do it. As we look at the context, we see that the Apostle Paul is writing to the church. And of course, they're a persecuted church, and he wants to encourage them. So he starts off and says, "I am so thankful for you, and for the way that you live, and the way that you love, and the way that you serve. And I want you to know something. In my life," Paul says, "I have been on the highest of mountains, and I've been in the deepest of valleys. I have had plenty, and I have had nothing at all. I've been to parties and celebrations with my friends, and I've been chained next to the stinkiest guards you could ever imagine in the prisons. But I have found the secret to being content. And it's not what's on the outside. It's not my external circumstance. It's my internal Savior. It's not what's going on out there that gives me contentment. It is who lives in here." And so here's the secret. If you want to be content in this life, then you have to know that you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. That's the context, and that's the meat of that passage. And so it's not a claim that we say, "Well, because I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, I can walk out the parking lot and I can pick a car above my head with one hand." Well, that's not what that verse is telling us. It doesn't mean you can eat 64 hot dogs in 64 seconds. It doesn't mean that you're going to live your life without trouble. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend more than you make and still have extra money in the bank. But it says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But in that context, it tells us how to be content and satisfied and suffice, regardless of what's going on in the outside world. Today, our second passage we'll look at, we're going to turn to the book of Mark, chapter number 11. We're going to look at verses 20 through 25. Mark 11, 20 through 25, we'll really try to focus in on verse 23 as one of those verses taken out of context. Three promises that he would often make from these verses. Number one, all things are possible. And so the goal of looking at a context of a passage of Scripture is to try to get as much information about these verses as possible by looking before and by looking after. So we're starting in Mark chapter 11 today. Therefore, we know that there are 10 chapters that we are not looking at this morning because we just don't have time. And so you wouldn't open up a book and turn to page 101 and start reading there because you wouldn't know what has happened so far. So we need to catch at least a little glimpse of what happens in Mark chapters 1 through 10. In chapter 1, we see Jesus being baptized by John the Baptist, and his ministry begins. Immediately, he is led to the desert where he is tempted by the enemy, but he stands firm on God's promises and on his word. Jesus calls his disciples next, and then he gets to work. He heals the sick, he preaches the gospel, he answers questions, he teaches doctrine about what is right and what is wrong, he uses instruction, and he tells parables. Then he walks on the water, he enables the lame to walk, he feeds the 5,000. He was challenged, he was harassed, he was hated. But he was also accepted and comforted and loved. He reveals himself as the Messiah, the Son of God, to his followers. He tells them about his death and his resurrection that would come. He teaches them how to be servants and how to put others first. He enters into Jerusalem on the back of the donkey. He enters into the temple and he sees people that are buying and that are selling. And he can't believe that they have turned the house of his father into a den of robbers, and so he drives them out. We're going to start in verse 20. As they passed by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. Perfect example of what reading a scripture out of context. As they passed by, they saw the fig tree that had withered away its roots. I have no idea what that means. I don't know where they have been, what they have been doing, or what has happened. What is the fig tree? Verse 21. And Peter remembered and said, Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed has withered. I have no idea. I don't remember reading about this fig tree. I don't know what has happened. Why on earth is Jesus cursing a fig tree? So how do we find out? How do we get a little bit of context? We've got to back up a little bit. Verse 12. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry, Jesus. And seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he said to it, May no one ever eat fruit from you again. And his disciples heard it. Jesus was hungry. Good reminder that he was fully human, even though he was fully God. We all know what it feels like to be hungry. So in the distance he sees this fig tree. He thinks there's some figs on that. He walks up to it. There's absolutely no figs on this tree. And so he says, May no one ever eat from you again. We try to bring that into our time today. Maybe you have a big Mother's Day lunch planned today, but it's going to take a couple hours to get all that food ready, and you can't make it home. And so you've been eyeing a Snickers bar over there in the snack machine across from the bathrooms and the fellowship hall, and you have decided you will satisfy that hunger with that Snickers bar, and that way you'll be okay until Mother's Day lunch. And you walk over there and you say, Oh, I see it in the distance. And as you appear, there's that Snickers bar, number C9, it is going to be yours. And then you find out that the money thing is broke, the dollar thing is broke, the change thing is broke, and you will not be getting your Snickers bar. And so you make a great proclamation. May no one ever eat from this vending machine again! You are so upset. One day we went to the Dairy Queen, And my wife loves a dude at Dairy Queen. And I'm not talking about like a man at Dairy Queen, but a sandwich called a dude at Dairy Queen. One of her favorite things in the world. I kid you not, we went to the drive-thru. She said, I'll order whatever number, and it's the dude meal. And they said, ma'am, I'm sorry, we are all out of dudes. You'd have thought they told her that she had to sell her firstborn child. Upset, right? So she played it off well, and I'll just get this, whatever. But as soon as we were driving out, you know what she said? Cursed be you, Dairy Queen, may no one ever eat from you ever again. She was hungry, and then she was upset. Jesus wanted something to eat, and there was nothing there. So in my mind, here's what I'm thinking to myself as I read this. This is Jesus, right? The Son of God. Omniscient. He knows everything. Is there any chance that Jesus walked up to this fig tree and was wondering if there'd be figs and didn't already know there was no figs on that tree? No chance. Absolutely not. He knew there was no figs. Well then, why all the fuss? Because Jesus is the master teacher. Right. And he uses everything he walks through to teach the disciples a lesson. So here's our recap. This is where he's going. Jesus walks up to the tree. There is no figs. He curses the tree. And then, remember verses, verse 21. As they passed by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. And Peter remembered and said, Rabbi, look, there's that fig tree that you cursed, and it has withered. That was fast. That should have taken days or weeks, maybe months for that fig tree to wither all the way to the roots. And yet yesterday you spoke to it, and today it's gone. Unbelievable! And in my mind, I'm thinking, come on, Peter. Get with the program here, brother. This is Jesus. He walked on the water. Right. He gave sight to the blind. He fed 5,000 people with a couple pieces of bread and fish. And you're amazed that a plant died in a day? And then I'm reminded of how many times in our life have we seen God do an absolute miracle. He has left us in awe by accomplishing the impossible. And yet we still act surprised when he shows us a glimpse of his power. Here's Jesus' response, verse 22. And Jesus answered them, have faith in God. So one of the strangest things, two things we can notice here. One of the strangest things to me is that it says very clearly that this fig tree was not in season. And I don't really understand what that means because I don't eat fruit or vegetables, so I don't know about this in season. So I did a little reasoning, a little digging, trying to do a little research, and this is what I found about the fig tree. Maybe you know this or maybe you do not. The fig tree will sprout figs first, and they are green. And then it will sprout leaves. So if you see leaves on a fig tree, guess what? That means there's figs already on the tree. Not in season means maybe it's not the season for them to be ripe, but there will still be figs on the tree. So from a distance, if you were looking at a fig tree from here to the back, and you see leaves on the fig tree, what does that mean? There's green figs. They're still edible, they still have nutrients, they're not ripe yet, but you can still eat them even though they are out of season. And yet Jesus walks over to the tree, and there's no figs. It was a deception. It looked like there should be fruit on the tree, but there was no fruit. What on earth could that possibly mean for us? Well, it just so happens that the fig tree is also a metaphor for Israel, for the children of God. And so what could Jesus possibly be saying? How about this? You know, from a distance, it looks like you have fruit. But when I got up a little closer, there was no fruit at all. You see, Jesus had just left the temple, and from a distance, he could see people everywhere. Lots of noise and smiles and hustling and bustling. It looked like they were worshiping. And then he got closer, and what did he see? They're buying and selling and trading to make gain. And so from a distance, it sure looked like they were loving God. When he got close, their hearts were far from him. I wonder, could it be that the lesson Jesus is teaching us is that too often His children are just like those fig trees. And from a distance, they sure do look like they're bearing fruit. But when you get up closer, you see that they are not. Because we're really good at saying the right words and showing up the right places and wearing the right Christian t-shirts. But God's Word promises that if we are attached to the vine, we will bear fruit. Wednesday night we were talking to the youth, and one of the passages talked about the fact that we have to lose our life in order to gain it. And so same thing, you can take that one little passage there, and for a lot of these teenagers, they've not grown up in the church. They don't have a vast knowledge of Scripture. And so to them, that verse says that you have to lose your life to be saved. So we try to explain to them it's more about a spiritual or an emotional or a walking away of who you are and letting go and dying to self and living and letting Christ be your absolute everything, not a physical death. And so this word fruit here may be strange to you. Maybe you've never heard that before. I need to bear fruit. Does that mean if I'm going to be a Christian, then I got to have fig trees in my backyard? That's not what it's saying at all. To bear fruit, we first think about the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. This is the fruit that we should see in our life. It means that we love one. It means that we forgive. It means that we serve. It means that we help. It means that we share our faith. It means that we obey God. That's what it looks like to bear fruit for the kingdom. Well, I want to do that. I want to be a fruit bearer. What do I need to do? Jesus tells them, have faith in God. That means that you trust in God to remove whatever hinders you from being fruitful. Whether it's sin, fear, or pride, or your family, or your job, or insecurity, or guilt, or depression, or complacency, whatever it is, have faith in God that He is greater than your hindrance. All things are possible. Do you believe that? Do you believe that all things are possible with God? I do. There is no place, no thing, or no one that is out of His reach. He is able to do all things. Yeah. But what does that mean for us in our prayer life? Does that mean that absolutely everything that we ask for, God is going to accomplish? Here's the second phrase that we often hear at times. Speak and receive. All things are possible. So speak and receive. Verse 28. Truly, I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. Jesus, the master teacher, he is the utmost expert of visual illustrations. And so there he stands, and there's the Mount of Olives, and then 15 miles down the road is the Dead Sea, both very clearly in the sight. And so he says, let me give you an example about having faith in God. And he points to the Mount of Olives and says, you can tell this mountain, right here, you see it? Mountain. You can say, cast yourself in the sea. And he points to the sea. With their eyes, they can see this. And he says, and if you have faith, if you believe, if you do not doubt, it will be done for you. So here's some background on this metaphor, according to the ESV Study Bible. In Jewish literature, moving mountains was a metaphor, obviously, for accomplishing the impossible. Same thing we would say, oh man, who's going to move that mountain? Right? This is a big deal, almost impossible. Rabbis and religious leaders who are really good at solving problems or doing things that seem to be impossible, guess what they would be called? The rooter of the mountain, because they could move mountains. So the first thing we have to understand here is that Jesus is not telling us that our prayer life should be filled asking God to move mountains into the sea. He is not saying that we need to get on our hands and knees and pray before Him that Mount Kilimanjaro is going into the Pacific Ocean. And Instead, he's trying to show us and encourage us that we are to have enough faith to know without a shadow of a doubt that nothing is impossible when God is involved. Right. But here's the context. If you just took this one verse all by itself, you could say, Jesus says, if I have faith, and I believe, and I don't doubt, and I speak it, then I will receive it. Is that the way this works? So I want to do a little example for you, I think that might help. I need a volunteer. It'd be really great if it was a small person. Any small, come here, come help me back. So we're going to try a little physical demonstration today. I'm very excited about this. Much more excited than you will be in just a moment. So, talk about your name. This is my friend Alex. She's going to help me today. So, Alex, I saw this picture this week online that I thought was really cool, and I'd really like to try it. Okay, so here's the picture. So, if you don't know, this is one of our former youth here on Ashton Dude, and his buddy were messing around at the gym. And I thought, that looks great, and I really want to try that, okay? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to try this, but I want to be the one who's on top. So what I need you to do is I need you to reach down and pick up my feet. I can stay on this stair here so it's not so hard. And I want you to push me straight up in the air like that guy did. Why? I think we can do it. Oh, wait. Here's the reason we can't do it. Because we haven't prayed. So that's what that verse says, right? The verse says that if I believe and I don't doubt, then whatever I ask for, I'm going to get it. So if we pray and ask God to help you pick me up in the air, just like that guy there, then it should be a guarantee. That's what it says, right? Okay, let's see what it says there. Thank you. Yay, that's all. See, so many times that's what we say. Okay, well, this verse says that all I have to do is I have to pray and I have to believe. And if I don't doubt, and then it will happen. Surely it's easier for Alex to pick me up than for a mountain to be cast into the sea, right? Amen? Y'all are thinking about it for a minute. Oh, no, preacher, that's a little girl. You're a pretty big guy. Surely that would be easier for the Lord. He just said we have enough faith. All we got to do is cast the mountains and sea. We can just say it, and it will happen. But this verse isn't telling us to pray for mountains to be cast into the sea, or to pick people up over our heads. Because in this context, remember, Jesus is teaching his disciples. And he talks about the image of this fig tree, the Jewish people, the Israelites. Those who look like they have faith, but they bear no fruit. And he is saying, if you want to live a fruit-bearing life, then you've got to have faith in the God that you serve. And you have to believe that nothing is impossible with God. Hear me very clearly. If God wants that little girl to pick me up, she won't even have to think about it. Right. She'll pick me up with a finger. I do not doubt that at all. But I think what he's saying here is that you need to look and see what mountains are keeping you from bearing fruit. And whatever they are, you have to have faith to know that God can move them. Right. You see, just because we ask God doesn't mean that he will always do it. Because what we ask is so often has everything to do with what our will is. And may have nothing to do with what his will is. James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. 1 John 5:14. And this is the confidence that we have towards him, that if we ask anything, there is again anything at all, even little girls, to pick up heavy preachers. If we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us in whatever we ask, we know that we have the request that we have asked of him. Jesus does not teach that whatever we speak, we will receive. These verses say whatever we ask, as long as they are in accordance to his will, then we will receive. In no way does this limit the ability of God. He can do anything He wants to do. But instead it shows us that too often our prayers are focused on what we want instead of on what He knows is best. Promise number 3. Keep believing and forgive. Verse 24. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Now listen, preacher, you're making a pretty good argument here. I'm staying with you. But he just said it again. Whatever you ask, whatever it is, believe it. That's all you got to do. Ask it in prayer, believe it, that you're going to receive it, and it will be yours. 2017 Stingray Corvette, white with gray leather. I'm going to pray, I'm going to believe that I will receive and it will be mine. Is that what it's saying? I'm going to pray that Dave Ramsey is going to leave me his fortune when he passes away. He's going to bypass his children and give it straight to here at the First Baptist Church of Lavernia. All I got to do is pray, believe that I receive it, and it will be mine. I'm going to live to be 155 years old. All I got to do is pray and believe it, and then I will receive it. I'm going to pray to get 100s on all my exams throughout middle school and college without ever even picking up a book. I just have to pray and believe and receive. My neighbor's dog is finally going to stop tearing up my trash because I pray and believe and I will receive. Remember our context. Overcoming the mountains, bearing fruit for the kingdom, having faith in God. When that is your goal in this life, to overcome the mountains, to bear fruit for the kingdom, you will not be praying for the things that you want in this life. Instead, you're going to be praying for what God wants. And when that is your prayer, when you pray for what the Lord's will is, the answer is yes, every single time. James 4. What causes quarrels and fights among you? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you, Corvettes, dogs on the trash, 155 years old? You desire and you don't have, so you murder, you covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask, and you ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly. To spend it on your passions, Mark 14:36. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. John 15:58. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him is he that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers like a fig tree. And the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire and burned. If you abide in me, my words abide in you. Ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. When you are praying for His will. He says we are called to bear fruit, to have faith in God, to trust in Him. And when we pray for His will to be done, our prayers are not limited to our selfish desires, but instead they will be filled with His sweet promises. Verse 29. And whenever you stand praying, forgive. If you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. Jesus wants us to know that He is absolutely faithful. And He hears our prayers. He is a good Father who is able to give us absolutely anything that we ask. But if we want to be heard, and we want to bear fruit, we must forgive others. Because refusing to forgive reveals that we have not experienced His forgiveness. Matthew 6:14. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Years ago, I had a very personal experience with these verses being used out of context. I want to show you a picture. These are some friends of mine. So this is Mr. Buzz on the left and Miss Doris on the right. One of their friends was like a granddaughter to them. Mr. Buzz was about the best character of a man you could ever meet in this world. Kind and loving, full of Jesus. This picture was taken in June of 2010. And he had recently been diagnosed with cancer. And so we began to pray for him as a church, and with his wife, and with his family. And we did everything that these verses said. We prayed all throughout the journey. And people would come up to Miss Doris and say, now listen, Miss Doris, we're going to pray for healing for Buzz here. And you have to be sure you are praying hard enough. Because if you pray hard enough, God will do anything that you ask. And Miss Doris and our church, we prayed really hard. And they'll tell you that if you have enough faith, that's just it. You have to pray and have enough faith, and then God will answer your prayer. And Miss Doris had more faith than anyone I've ever met. And they would tell her, well, you just have to make sure you have forgiven others. Because if you have forgiven others, then God's not hearing your prayer. But if you have forgiven others, then God must give you what you ask. So in June of 2010, he was diagnosed with cancer. And in September of 2010, I did his funeral. And he had gone from 270 pounds of joy, love, and happiness to about 125 pounds of sickness and misery. And I don't know why God called us home. I'm going to talk to him about that one day. But this is what I do know. I know that that prayer was not answered. And it wasn't because the prayers of the people who were praying didn't believe. And it wasn't because they didn't have enough faith. And it wasn't because they had unforgiveness in their heart. And so the people that would stand and would say, well, as long as you just believe, have enough faith, and forgive, God will give you whatever you ask. Those people are wrong. That is not what Scripture says. See, the reason that God called us home is because He chose to heal him eternally instead of temporarily. Is God able to answer any prayer that we voice? Yes. But not every prayer that we voice is in accordance to His will. And so we learn that praying for His will is always better because God sees the whole picture. We just see this. Are all things possible with God? Yes. There's not a sickness He cannot cure. There's not a mountain He cannot move. There's not an enemy He cannot defeat. But just because He has the ability, that does not mean it's what's best for us. Does God want us to speak and receive? Yes. But He does not want us to speak and receive just whatever we want. He wants us to speak confession and receive forgiveness. He wants us to speak regret and receive repentance. He wants us to speak forgiveness and receive forgiveness. He wants us to speak challenges and receive confidence. He wants us to speak truth and receive remorse. He wants us to speak about our shortcomings and receive the strength we need to bear fruit. He wants us to speak praise and receive grace. Is it true that we must keep believing and forgiving? Yes. But that's not the key to obtaining anything that we want for our prayer. He wants us to keep believing that Jesus is the Son of God and that salvation can only come through Him. He wants us to keep believing that our hope is in Him and not in this world. He wants us to keep believing that though we are not there yet, we are running a race for a prize. He wants us to keep believing that God works out all things for good. He wants us to keep believing that His sovereign will is always perfect. Is it true that we must keep believing and forgiving? Yes. But not to obtain our selfish desires, instead to bear fruit for the kingdom. Ask, and it shall be given to you. But here's the key. Not my will, but yours be. Lord, today, this is what we pray. Lord, that our hearts be convicted of this absolute truth. That in this life all things are possible. Because, Lord, there is nothing impossible for you. And Lord, you call us to pray. And you call us to believe. And you call us to not have doubt, but to have a faith that can say, mountain, move yourself. But God, these words are not a promise that whatever we ask will be ours, because we are a foolish, sinful people. But Lord, instead, these verses give us confidence and hope and encouragement that when we choose to be mountain movers, and when we decide to be fruit bearers, and when we follow you and love you and obey you, and when we serve you, the content of our prayer life will not be for what we want, but instead for what your will is. And then, God, we know that what we ask is right. And what we ask is good and is pleasing and is perfect. And when we pray for your will to be done, you say yes every time. So Lord, today I pray for those who are struggling because they feel like their prayer hasn't been answered. Lord, reveal to them that your ways are not our ways and your thoughts are not our thoughts, because your ways are perfect and right. You see in full what we see only in part. Lord, for those who are looking forward and they're seeking after you, that I pray today they be convicted to pray, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. And when we have that type of attitude, when we have that type of faith, Lord, when we believe that you can move the mountains into the seas, but we're going to follow you and your way instead of following ourselves for the world and our way, then, Lord, we can be fruit-bearing believers. We will not be like those who from a distance look like they are serving and following. We will not be like the fig tree who has the leaves but no fruit on it. Instead, Lord, we can be close to you on the outside and on the inside. Ask and you shall receive. Lord, not our will, but yours be done. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. You'll stand together with us today. We're going to sing a hymn of invitation.